Some of the smallest things on your plate can quietly decide how long you live. I've met people who looked perfectly healthy, smiling, and full of energy, until one morning they were rushed to the hospital. The cause was something so common it hides in plain sight: high cholesterol. Most people have no idea that just a few familiar foods can silently push their cholesterol to dangerous levels. In this video, I'm going to share two important lists with you. 9 foods that taste great but slowly harm your heart and blood vessels, and 5 foods that are easy to find yet can help lower your cholesterol quickly and protect your health for years. At the end, I'll also settle a question that sparks endless debate. Is olive oil really better than pork fat? The answer may surprise you. Cholesterol is not always the enemy. Your body needs it to make hormones, produce vitamin D, and aid digestion. But when it builds up beyond safe levels, it turns into a silent killer, clogging arteries and setting the stage for heart attacks or strokes that can change your life overnight. So, how do you know if your diet is keeping you safe or slowly putting your heart at risk? The answer begins right now. Cholesterol is not a bad word. It's a natural substance your body depends on. It plays a role in making hormones like cortisol, testosterone, and estrogen. It helps your body produce vitamin D. It's even essential for digestion because it helps create bile salts that break down fat. The problem starts when cholesterol levels rise too high. That's when it begins to stick to artery walls, narrowing the space where blood flows. Over time, this buildup increases your risk of heart attack, stroke, and other cardiovascular problems. Here's what many people don't realize: the right cholesterol level is not the same for everyone. A 30-year-old athlete with no health issues might be fine with an LDL reading of 130. But for someone with diabetes, high blood pressure, or a history of heart disease, that same number could be dangerously high. Think of cholesterol like water in a glass. You need enough to stay healthy, but once it overflows, damage begins. The goal is not to eliminate cholesterol entirely, it's to keep it at the level that's safe for you. About 70% of the cholesterol in your body is made in your liver. This is called endogenous cholesterol. You can't directly change that number through diet. The other 30% comes from the food you eat. This is exogenous cholesterol. And this part is completely within your control. Some experts claim diet doesn't really matter, but that's misleading. For many people, adjusting what they eat can be the difference between hovering at a risky level and moving into the safe zone. Diet isn't the only factor. Regular physical activity and maintaining a healthy weight also play a major role in keeping cholesterol levels in check. Think of it as a 3-part formula: eat wisely, move your body, and manage your weight. Together, these can make a measurable difference in your numbers and in your long-term heart health. Let's start with the foods you need to be most cautious about. These are the ones that quietly push your cholesterol higher, even if they seem harmless. 1. Bacon. Crispy, salty, and tempting, but loaded with saturated fat. This type of fat raises LDL, the bad cholesterol that clogs arteries. Bacon may be delicious, but if heart health is your goal, it's best saved for rare occasions. 2. Sour cream and certain cheeses. Sour cream, along with yellow cheeses like cheddar, is another source of saturated fat. While dairy can be part of a healthy diet, full-fat versions are not your friend when it comes to cholesterol. Opt for lighter, reduced-fat alternatives if you use them at all. 3. Processed meats. Cold cuts such as salami, bologna, and other deli meats are a double problem. They're high in saturated fat and packed with preservatives like nitrates and nitrites. These chemicals have been linked not only to higher cholesterol, but also to an increased risk of certain cancers. Even homemade versions, while free from preservatives, still carry a heavy load of saturated fat. These are just the first 3, but even cutting back on them can start to shift your cholesterol in the right direction. Segment 5. 9 foods that raise cholesterol. Part 2. 4. Ice cream. It's cold, creamy, and comforting, but it's also a hidden cholesterol trap. Ice cream often contains trans fats, which are even more harmful than saturated fats. Even brands that claim to be trans fat free usually still pack a hefty amount of saturated fat. A small scoop every once in a while won't destroy your health, but making it a regular treat can quietly raise your LDL over time. 5. Butter. That golden layer melting into warm bread may be satisfying, but butter is dense in saturated fat and calories. Adding it to meals can quickly tip your fat and calorie intake into the danger zone. Over time, it can increase LDL, promote weight gain, and even contribute to insulin resistance. Swapping it for healthier spreads or using olive oil instead is a smarter choice for your heart. 6. Coconut oil. It's often marketed as a miracle food, but in reality, coconut oil is loaded with saturated fat. While it may have uses in skincare or cooking flavor, it's not the heart-friendly option many believe it to be. Regular use in your diet can nudge cholesterol levels upward, the opposite of what you want if you're aiming for a healthier heart. 7. Fatty meats. Cuts of meat with visible fat, like ribeye steaks, short ribs, or picanha with the fat cap left on, are loaded with saturated fat. Red meat already contains more fat than lean poultry or fish, and when you eat the fatty portions, the impact on your LDL can be significant. Enjoying meat in moderation is fine, but trimming the fat before cooking is a smart way to protect your heart. 8. Poultry. Chicken or turkey meat is lean and healthy, but the skin is not. It's full of saturated fat that can undo the benefits of choosing white meat in the first place. Simply removing the skin before cooking can make a noticeable difference in your cholesterol profile. 9. French fries and fried foods. Whether it's fries, fried chicken, or onion rings, the problem is the same. Deep frying adds a heavy dose of unhealthy fats. The oils used for frying often contain saturated or trans fats, and repeated heating makes them even more harmful. Fried foods aren't completely off limits, but they should be occasional indulgences, not everyday staples. Many people rely on cholesterol-lowering medication without realizing that diet and lifestyle changes can often make a huge difference. The right approach to food can help your doctor safely reduce your dosage, which means fewer side effects and better overall quality of life. I've seen cases where small, consistent changes in eating habits led to noticeable improvements in cholesterol numbers within a matter of weeks. It's not about extreme diets or cutting out everything you enjoy. It's about making smarter swaps and adding more of the foods that work in your favor. The next part of this video will focus on exactly that: the top 5 foods that don't just keep cholesterol from rising, but actively help bring it down. Some of them are so effective that one simple addition to your meals could lower your cholesterol by up to 8%. Let's start with the first one. 1. Beans, lentils, and chickpeas. These humble staples are packed with soluble fiber, which acts like a sponge in your digestive system. It traps cholesterol and helps carry it out of the body before it can enter your bloodstream. Studies show that regularly eating beans, lentils, or chickpeas can lower cholesterol by up to 5%, a big impact for such a simple change. Try adding them to soups, salads, or even blending them into spreads for a heart-healthy boost. 2. Eggplant. Forget fancy supplements or exotic superfoods. Eggplant is a down-to-earth hero for your heart. It's rich in a special type of fiber that reduces cholesterol absorption, improving your overall blood lipid profile. Roasted, grilled, or added to stews, eggplant brings both flavor and heart benefits to your plate. These 2 foods are easy to work into your diet, and their effects build over time. The key is consistency. The more often you include them, the more your cholesterol levels will thank you. 3. Fatty fish salmon, tuna, sardines. These cold water fish are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which have been studied for decades for their heart protective benefits. Omega-3s help lower triglycerides, improve your overall blood fat profile, and can even raise HDL, the good cholesterol that helps clear LDL from your arteries. Aim for 2 servings a week, baked or grilled, to get the full benefits without the extra fat from frying. 4. Chia seeds, flax seeds, and oats. These fiber-rich foods are especially powerful because they contain soluble fiber, the type that directly lowers LDL cholesterol. Oats, in particular, have been shown to reduce cholesterol by up to 8% just from 1 daily serving. If you're managing blood sugar, you might prefer chia or flax seeds, which have less impact on glucose levels. Sprinkle them into yogurt, blend them into smoothies, or add them to baked goods for an easy upgrade. Each of these foods works differently, but together they form a strong defense against high cholesterol. And there's still one more to go, a kitchen staple that often sparks debate: 5. Olive oil. This is one of the healthiest fats you can use in your kitchen. Olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fats, which help lower LDL cholesterol while protecting HDL, the good cholesterol. It's also linked to a lower risk of heart attack and stroke when used in place of saturated fats. Drizzle it over salads, use it in cooking at moderate heat, or simply swap it for butter in your favorite recipes. Now, what about pork fat? Some people insist it's just as good, or even better. But despite the nostalgia of how our grandparents used to eat, pork fat is high in saturated fats, which can raise LDL and increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. It's not the heart-friendly choice that olive oil is. And here's a fact many overlook. A century ago, life expectancy was far shorter, around 34 years in the 1920s. People didn't live long enough for heart disease to become as common as it is today. The idea that old ways were healthier doesn't always hold up when you look at the numbers. The takeaway is simple. You can't control the cholesterol your body makes on its own, but you can control the cholesterol that comes from what you eat. By avoiding the worst offenders and including these 5 powerful foods, you give your heart the best chance to stay strong for decades to come.